A wide panorama opens onto a desolate, sun-scorched area where small, mysterious buildings are visible beyond the hills. Clouds drift slowly across the serene blue turquoise sky above. The camera zooms in on one of the buildings, showing it from above. It is an old, abandoned structure with peeling plaster, next to which two cargo trucks are parked. The scene shifts to a dark room. Illuminated by a turquoise light, two men stand near a closed door. One is sitting down, looking wounded, as the other looms over him. A close-up shot of the older man, the professor, whose face expresses deep weariness and despair. Sadly, he replies, "Don't say that, Major Kong," accepting the gravity of the situation. Major Kong bends down, clenching his fists in rage and sorrow. He curses the traitor, recalling, "These men here were highly trained soldiers, not just common militia." An extremely close-up shot of Major Kang's face. His eyes, filled with rage, reflect the bitterness of the realization. They knew the details of our plans and completely ambushed us. Major Kong remains seated, his injured body trembling with pain and rage. The professor realizes, the whole thing was a trap to rope us into this mess. The next panel is sharply illuminated by a bright, turquoise glow. Only the menacing, tall silhouette of an unknown figure is visible against the blinding light. A close-up shot reveals a soldier falling unconscious to the floor, landing hard on his head. Above him stand the black boots of two unknown adversaries. A close-up shows the battered, blood-stained man lying on the floor, barely conscious and groaning in pain. The marks of his recent struggle are visible on his face. A close-up shot of Major Kang's face, filled with agony and despair. His eyes are wide open as he desperately shouts, "Sergeant Kim." The silhouette of the enemy with a rifle emerges against the bright light. Major Kong tries to get up and escape, yelling, "You bastard." A close-up of the unknown enemy's face as he takes aim. His single visible eye coldly scrutinizes Kong while he utters an incomprehensible phrase. A bloody moment. The enemy delivers a sharp strike, possibly with the rifle but hitting Major Kong. The scene explodes with red color and sprays of blood. The face of one of the enemies is covered in a sinister, self-satisfied grin. Meanwhile, Major Kong, defeated, collapses helplessly onto the dark, cold floor. Major Kang's face on the ground expresses intense pain and despair. His body is exhausted, and he can only let out a quiet, painful groan. Major Kong and the professor lie helplessly on the cold floor, surrounded by enemies. The heavy metal door behind them seals shut, cutting off any chance of escape. Major Kong struggles to stand, suppressing a cough, his body shaking from the injuries. He furiously realizes, that bastard is playing us like pawns. Major Kong sharply turns toward his wounded colleague, who anxiously asks, "Major Kong, are you all right?" Kong curtly replies, "I'm fine." With traces of blood on his face, the soldier confesses in despair, "I don't know. They were all taken somewhere." His voice trembles as he reports the loss of his comrades. The frightened soldier looks at Major Kong, who slowly turns towards him. The moment is filled with anticipation and is intensified by the sounds reminiscent of imprisonment. The frightened soldier looks at Major Kong, who slowly turns towards him. The moment is filled with anticipation and is intensified by the sounds reminiscent of imprisonment. The enemy's face is finally visible. His gaze pierces through, and his expression is cold and professional. This mercenary exudes deadly, focused confidence. The mercenary stands over Kong, whose hands are bound behind his back. Kong stares upward, fueled by anger, demanding an answer. What now? The mercenary delivers another powerful blow, his silhouette appearing threatening and tall. The hit echoes dully, sending Major Kong crashing to the ground once again. The mercenary stands in full combat gear. His face is completely covered by a scarf as he coldly asks, "Are you Major Hamchan Kong?" The mercenary ponders, his thoughts filled with surprise and assessment of the situation. He speaks Korean? He is trying to understand Kang's connection and background. Major Kang's face is filled with fighting resolve. With anger in his eyes, despite his defeat, he throws a challenge. "Who are you?" The prisoners stare in surprise at the mercenary in the doorway speaking Korean. They discuss his accent. He doesn't sound quite fluent, but he definitely just spoke Korean. The mercenary leans toward the captives, his face in shadow, but resolute. He coldly announces, "I came for you. All you prisoners, follow me." The mercenary and the prisoners run quickly down the illuminated hallway, eager to immediately leave this place. The mercenary and the prisoners walk past dozens of fallen guards. All of these men knocked down already, wonders a voice in the thoughts. But we would have heard something. Major Kong, holding a rifle, tries to get information, demanding, "Which division are you with and how many troops have been deployed?" The mercenary replies, "I can't name who I work for. I came alone." Major Kong, wounded and astonished, considers the possibility. He knocked out all these men by himself? The surprise at the mercenary's terrifying efficiency is visible on his face. The mercenary steps into the hallway, throwing a neutralized person onto the floor. He ponders, and undetected at that, only silence remains around them. The wounded officer and his comrade continue to run, carrying a weapon. He shouts in shock, "It's one of them!" Their struggle against the pursuers is far from over. The mercenary in a cap swiftly draws a pistol and turns, sensing movement. His face is tense with sudden shock. The major, his face flushed with rage and blood, assesses the situation. He realizes more enemies await, and there's another one on the other side. We won't get past them quietly. The hired operative demonstrates his skill, sharply leaping aside to avoid a bullet. His entire figure, full of motion, radiates speed and deadly efficiency. The hired operative delivers a powerful punch to one of the enemy's faces. The impact is so strong that the foe is sent flying backward from the direct hit. The masked operative finishes the fight. Another enemy is sent flying, harshly taking a blow to the face. A loud and sharp impact sound echoes in the air. The face of one of the enemies is distorted in pain as he is harshly thrown to the ground. He lets out a loud, dull impact sound. An enemy suddenly appears in the corridor. He screams in panic and opens fire with his automatic rifle. His face is filled with frantic fear and determination to stop the escape. The mysterious operative is in motion. He draws a weapon, rapidly closing the distance to the enemy who just fired. The entire scene is filled with aggressive speed. The scene is filled with red energy and speed. All focus is on the unstoppable motion of the mysterious operative, who rushes toward the last remaining enemy with furious speed. The mysterious masked operative delivers a lightning-fast, decisive knife strike. The blade pierces the enemy, abruptly ending the fight. The last enemy struck by the knife slowly slumps onto the chair behind him. His life fades as his rifle lies uselessly on the floor. The mysterious operative stands in the doorway, surveying the results of the fight. His figure, completely masked, exudes deadly composure. The enemies lie powerless on the floor. Major Kong and the other prisoners are astonished, seeing how the operative holds the enemy's weapons. He instantly disarmed 2 men without even reaching for his gun. Thinks the major, which agency is he from? The masked operative reloads the silenced weapon, taking command. He instructs the hero, "We must pick up the pace. I'll take care of the hostiles as we continue, so try not to use your rifle unless it's necessary." Major Kong, with a focused gaze, uneasily replies to the operative, "S sure." In his mind, he translates the meaning. In other words, "Don't get in my way." The operative swiftly fires several times in succession from the silenced weapon. The bullets whiz, hitting unseen targets. The mysterious masked operative accurately hits the enemy. Silenced bullets, whizzing softly, strike the target's body, causing blood splatter as the enemy flies through the air. The mysterious masked operative accurately hits the enemy. Silenced bullets, whizzing softly, strike the target's body, causing blood splatter as the enemy flies through the air. The hired operative, moving swiftly, manages to open fire first. He releases a burst of silent bullets into the enemy, who is desperately trying to fire his assault rifle. The enemy falls to the floor after being hit by the bullets. His movement is marked by a quick, sharp collapse. The mercenary and the wounded officer continue to run quickly down the corridor, eager to exit the dangerous zone. The hired operative runs ahead, his gaze fixed on the end of the long corridor. His thoughts are pure instructions. Multiple hostiles up ahead. We must run faster. Major Kong, gripping his rifle, concentrates. "I should help him get past this one now," decides the wounded officer. He reflects. Well, so much for keeping quiet. The hired operative dashes down the corridor. His entire movement is filled with determination and furious speed. Major Kong watches his rescuer's actions in shock. His face is overwhelmed with anxiety as he wonders. Why is he just charging in like that? We should be calm and think this through before we move. Major Kong and another prisoner spot enemies at the end of the corridor, and both react with shocked exclamations. The targets are closing in, and there is no time for hesitation. The mysterious masked operative, unexpectedly changing direction, sharply slides on his knees. He stops, preparing for the final, lightning-fast attack. The mysterious masked operative takes a decisive aim with his silenced pistol directly at the camera, ready to pull the trigger. His eyes, the only visible part of his face, are full of deadly concentration. The enemies at the end of the corridor finally spot the two escapees. They are shocked and enraged, seeing that their targets have fled. Their eyes are filled with fury. The masked mercenary instantly fires 3 silent bullets that accurately hit the 3 enemies standing at the end of the corridor. The scene is filled with bright impact flashes. The operative, discarding an empty magazine, executes a forward jump, landing on the floor. He uses his pistol as his only defense. The hired operative swiftly reloads his pistol. He inserts a new magazine and is ready to continue moving. Major Kong, despite his injuries, quickly moves out from cover. He holds his rifle, ready to open fire on the enemy that the operative has just neutralized. A close-up of Major Kang's face. His gaze is focused and resolute. Despite the sweat and bloodstains, he is ready for battle, holding his rifle and preparing to fire. Major Kong is stunned, looking at the operative who easily neutralized 3 more enemies. He thinks, what a beast. He instantly took care of all of them. The enemies' bodies lie on the floor, while the operative stands victorious. Major, looking at the silhouette of the retreating operative, reflects, but his tactics are too reckless for some typical military soldier. The operative runs further away, leaving behind the bodies of the slain enemies. The hired operative and Major Kong finally run out of the dark corridor into the bright sunlight. They continue to run, leaving the underground complex and danger behind. The masked operative peeks out from behind the brick wall. His movement is silent and cautious as he surveys the outdoor area, assessing the danger and planning the escape route. The operative raises his fist, giving Major Kong a clear command. We wait here. 1 minute. The Major looks at him with a mix of surprise and apprehension. Major Kong, panting heavily and gripping his weapon, questions the operative who ordered the stop. What for? He doesn't understand why they stopped when time is crucial. The hired operative tilts his head, quickly glancing over his shoulder at Major Kong. He slightly lowers his head, showing that his attention is focused on the surroundings. The operative and the wounded prisoner quickly run down the narrow alley between the brick walls. The prisoner is panting heavily, trying to keep up with the operative who is leading them to safety. Major Kong, panting heavily, scolds himself. I failed to take their weak state into account. No matter the circumstances, I should have kept notice of that. He realizes that, focused on his own determination, he failed to notice the physical state of his companion. Major Kong looks at the operative and continues his thought, realizing why the operative insisted on the pause, which means he was calculating all of that this whole time. He realizes that even stopping was part of a well-planned strategy. A close-up of the mercenary's face, hidden by a houndstooth scarf. His black eyes are the only visible feature, piercingly looking into the distance. Kong notes, he has black eyes. Major, sensing strange coincidences, breaks the silence to ask the operative a direct question. Are you Korean? He leans in cautiously, looking at the masked individual. A close-up of the wounded guard's face who just tried to attack Major Kong. He looks confused and wounded, asking, Did I get you? The mercenary finally breaks the silence to announce, Time to move. Major Kong looks at him with understanding, his expression indicating he has just analyzed the situation. The Korean major and 2 prisoners run through the tall grass, moving away from the combat area. They hurry to stay out of the enemy's line of sight. Kong covers another wounded prisoner. The rescuers finally appear. A group of soldiers in a military vehicle pull up. One of them, running out, exclaims, Major Kong. They look relieved to have found the officer and his companions. The major grins widely, his face covered in dirt and blood, but looking happy. He is shocked but joyful that his platoon found him. The high-ranking officer exclaims, My platoon, but they were all taken somewhere else. How did you all get here? One of the rescuers, Kang's platoon mate, explains the situation. He points to the mysterious operative, telling the Korean major, That man got us all out. He told us to wait here for a while, and now he's come back with you. The mysterious operative stops amidst the tall grass. He looks straight ahead. His face, covered by a scarf, remains unreadable as he instructs Major Kong and his platoon. I stop here. Continue southwest, and someone will be waiting for you. The Korean major, now safe, sincerely thanks his mysterious rescuer. Thank you. To which the masked operative replies reservedly, No need. I'm just carrying out a commission. The wounded Major Kong reaches out his hand to his rescuer, attempting a handshake. He expresses his deep gratitude. The mysterious operative looks at the major and slowly lowers his pistol. The wounded officer, Major Kong, continues, despite the reply. Even if it's just another job for you, I still want to thank you for your help. Whatever your reason was, you still saved me and my men. The masked operative silently looks at Major Kong, not responding to his sincere words of gratitude. Only tense silence is visible in his eyes. Major Kong persistently holds out his hand, awaiting a handshake. The rescuer stands motionless, making no move to reciprocate the friendly gesture. The two men stand against the backdrop of the distant, quickly blurring landscape. Sudden danger strikes. The scene erupts in a bright flash of light, symbolizing a close explosion or a shot aimed towards the rescuer and the officer. There are only clouds of smoke around, and the background warps, hinting at a powerful impact. The Korean major looks up in shock, sensing acute danger. He asks, having heard an unusual sound, "What's that sound?" Hovering over him is the masked operative, his eyes wide open, preparing for immediate action. The masked operative, the main rescuer, yells at Major Kong to warn him of immediate danger. "Get down." This happens as the hero covers the officer with his body or pushes him down to avoid the incoming shot. The captured military personnel, freed by the operative, stand against a blurred, distant landscape. They look exhausted and traumatized, but safe. The liberated men await further instructions, knowing the worst is over. A massive explosion likely hits the group of freed soldiers Major Kong left behind. The entire vertical panel is filled with a bright, blinding flash, symbolizing destructive power. This confirms that the enemy continues to fire.